Good morning. Your hand today is going to be Queen Jack of clubs. We are in the big blind. It folds around to the small blind, who raises, and it's on us. We have 124 hands on villain. He's playing 32-18. Small blind stat. When we look at raise first in, he's had one opportunity. That's what he's done. He hasn't had an opportunity to limp, so this is the first time that it's folded all the way around him, and he's raised. So this is his first time at it. If we look at the steal attempt, it does look like he tries to steal quite a bit, which could suggest that he's playing somewhat of a wider range. And at 71%, that's actually pretty high overall. 75% cutoff, 60% button. We still don't have a huge number of hands, but I think it's going to be he'll have a wider range. So it's just kind of like a standard raise first in stat from like late position maybe. It's got the suited aces, and of course not everyone's going to be raising suited aces, but that's at 18%. We don't have enough hands in the small blind to really identify what his range is, but based on everything else, I think this is going to be a way too tight range. His almost 70% attempt to steal range from the cutoff, from the button, and so forth kind of suggests that he's probably going something much wider. I mean, at a minimum, we're looking at 53%, something that looks like that. If we go up to 60% or even 75%, you can see we're starting to really kind of broaden out what we have. I'm going to add all of these kings, so offsuit kings as well. I think that's pretty common to see all of the ace x hands and the king x hands raising, and then you've got connectors and so forth. So we're going to go with 62%. That's on me then. So you've got our decisions here: big blind versus small blind. You can see 3-bet versus 3-bet or call. Queen jack should be a 3-bet. If we thought villain was playing much tighter in the small blind and doesn't really try to steal, then we've got a very different set of range, because now we know he's probably just raising with like premium hands that say 10%, or the top 10%, and we're not going to be as liberal with our raises. So this is the spot where we should be 3-betting here with our queen jack. But I didn't. I called. So I think that was a mistake. We're going to go ahead and play as if we were doing this calling range here. So queen jack's definitely strong enough versus potential stealers. Just go ahead and make 3-bet. If called, we're in position. So it's always a benefit. So flop comes down jack high. So for our hand, that's actually pretty good. And if you look at our range, we're going to sometimes hit it, but we're not going to really have that strong of kicker with that. But villain's going to have a much wider range than what we called with. Much wider, but he will have net advantage. So villain leads. I think in this case, when we look at c-bets, he does seem to be c-betting quite a bit. So I think he's possibly leading like any of these pairs, like middle pair plus, probably flush draws. We'll add gut shots and so forth, and that's 41%, and that means to me that that's not enough. So we're going to have to start adding even more hands, and I think when we add the bottom pairs plus, that still doesn't even quite get us to 50%. So I think we're going to add in all of our overcards. And possibly maybe just all of our cards. I mean, it's 54.8%. I mean, now we're start making it just 100%, but we'll go 54.8, make it somewhat rational. So he does have these weak pairs. He's got overcards, ace, king, king, queen, and so forth. So it's on me. I think when we look at raising range, we do potentially have sets, and then we do have our flush draws. But you can see that our sets are 1.6%, so not quite 2%, and then our flush draws are 6.9%. So I think if we're going to go ahead and raise here, we raise our set, and then with our flush draws, I think we're going to be much more selective on what we're raising. I think we could do some combo. Obviously ace high, the nut flush draw, and then second nut flush draw could work. We do add in 6-4, so we've got the open ender, and then maybe you add in maybe like a6 or 8-6 or so, and I think that could work. My actual hand, I think, is probably just a calling hand. We've got top pair here. We've got decent kicker. Really aces and king. An ace and a king is the only card that could beat us when it comes. I should say not. I think there's other cards that could beat us too, but in terms of scare cards, really just concerned about those two cards. I don't think we need a whole lot of protection. Yeah, spades are out there, but I think we would be calling again with quite a few spade draws. So, if we change it, I think we're calling with a lot of these spade draws. I think we're calling with a lot of these, with the rest of the straight flush draws, and so forth, probably gut shots. I think we're calling any of our top pair hands, and possibly even maybe just one of these pocket pair below the boards. I think we would do twos. We could fold them, but we're playing threes too. I think twos could be like backdoor potential as well, so I think that's why we kind of go for it. We could do some 2-card backdoor flush draws. So if we decide to do this, we can go something like an ace-2, king-2, king-4, maybe queen-4, maybe the sixes as well, because you've got some backup potential. 5, 6, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, 6, maybe 8, 7. I think those could be calling hands, and I did call. So let's go ahead and eliminate. There we go. We just have to know we don't have the flushes. And possibly we're having to call even wider, because it's possible the villain's going to be betting even wider, if that's his tendency, since he has such a wide range to begin with. Queen of Spades comes out, gives us 2 pair. I think when you see the queen, you see we're going to connect with our flushes. We're going to connect with some of our 2 pair hands, kind of backed in bottom pair, bottom or mid pair, and then we catch that queen. Yeah, we do have to consider a villain having the spade. That's true. So just I had to go back half. He did c-bet half pot, so now he bets small. To me, that suggests that he is scared, that he doesn't have his flush, basically. I think he would go larger if he had a flush. I kind of feel the same with the straight or with the set. I kind of feel like anything that he has that's decent, he has he's gonna bet larger. So not even sure if he would do it with the second or with the draw. So I think he right now is just betting to bet because he has the initiative. I think maybe we could do all of those. We will X out the flush, or at least we'll do this, the nut flush and the second nut. I kind of think ace and king could probably bet larger. Make sure those are X'd out. I don't think he's going to have the open ender. Again, I can't. For one big blind, I think he should be he's going to be betting larger. So I think 62%. He's awfully weak here. On that note, when we see that weakness, I think we attack. Um, I think we attack him with some weaker hands. If he calls, then I think we bet again on the river because he may have that lone spade that he's calling with, or he may have a one pair hand that he's hoping to improve to two pair or trips, or maybe he has two pair. I kind of feel like two pair and trips is going to bet larger though, so definitely when he bets, we're calling. I mean, there's no reason not to call, but I think we could bet our we can raise with flush. I think obviously with the raise, if we raise and we get called, we're probably just gonna check down because we don't have the nut flush draw. And if he was calling with the ace of spades, he's not gonna call another bet. So I think we try to get some value with the from those hands right now with the flush. I think two pair is a possible raise to try to get some value. Let's see what other. So I don't think we want to raise with a nut flush. Because we're kind of thinking he's going to have it. But, I mean, if we have the nut flush, we know he doesn't have it. So possibly the second nut, maybe we do it just with all of them and the open ender. Nah, not with the open ender. So nut and second nut, and then I think we attack with like the weak pair hands, just like that. And it's a two pair. I mean, maybe we play with two pair, maybe we don't. But I definitely think we should raise. He bet one. I think we raise it up to 8 or 9, 9 big blinds. And that's with all of our hands here. What did I do? I did raise. I raised it up to 5, so I do like the raise here. We're trying to go for some value. We think we're targeting. I feel like we're targeting the ace of spades and possibly the king of spades. So ace x, king x, where you've got your nut and second nut flush draw. So I think we're gonna leave that in here. Third nut. Yeah, maybe we're a little unbalanced. But we're going to do that for our raise. Villain must be calling. So if when we said we think he would probably bet, let's say he didn't. Let's just say he checked it and called with those types of hands. I don't think he's going to do it with no made hand, but it's a possibility that he would do it with one of these pairs. Do I have notes on him? No, not really. So we'll just do third pair. Well, no, we'll do the threes too. They'll say, well, you're suspicious. I'm just going to call because I have a pair. We'll go from there. 7 of hearts hits. He checks. I kind of expect he would check everything. And then it's on us. We've got 2 pair. We kind of have to think about if we were targeting the ace of spades and the king of spades. Right now he missed. He's not going to call. So then we have to look at all of these other hands, and he did have a lot of those lone pairs. And the question is, will he call those? And I don't have the notes. Some players will. Some players will, especially at like a 5NL game. I think players will call down just with a pair. So yeah, now we go for some value with 2 pair, and if he beats us, he beats us. But I think we try to get some value with a pot of 22.8. We go for probably closer to 10, maybe 12. I think if we go larger, then maybe those 1 pair hands start to become folds. So we want to encourage those calls. So we would bet. I think we would bet our sets are 2 pair if we think we're going to be getting called by those 1 pair hands. Maybe an over pair, maybe a top pair. I mean, we've got really good kicker here. Well, that's villain. No, we would bet our flush for the value. We would bet 2 pair for value. I think middle pair is going to be a check at that point. So we got 36, and then you could always throw your ace high in there, and maybe weak pair or some of the weak pairs, which are real weak. So I think I would keep ace and king out of it. Maybe pocket fours, maybe pocket twos, something like that. Maybe it's just going to be like a single, maybe pocket twos or pocket fours, but not both. Yeah, I don't think we do the ace high. So I think we bet for some value. Did I do that? I didn't. I think I missed some value here. Villain shows Jack 9, so he shows that second pair, middle pair with a weaker kicker, and that's okay. It's in his range. When we raised, I mean, you can kind of see he scaled back because he was scared of the cards that came out, the queen, the spade specifically. That's pretty common. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a note. RFI 3 big blinds in, actually, was it 3.2? And small blind with jacks, let's see here, with jack spades, 9 of diamonds. He is out of position, so he bets 50%, then bets 1 big blind and call 5x raise, and then check. Jack of hearts, 5 spades, 3 spades, queen of spades, 7 hearts. All right, so we've got our notes on there. How do I think I played this? I think I missed value, definitely. Number one, we should have raised pre-flop. I think we raised pre-flop. He's probably calling. We flop top pair. We bet. He calls. We turn 2 pair. I think at that point we can bet with the plan of checking, but if we check behind on the turn, we're going to have to call a river bet with our 2 pair hand. I don't think we can check fold and just assume that he's going to have the spade. Kind of think it makes sense. He was calling, looks like maybe with the jack, but he had second pair and he had the spade draw, so kind of makes sense. Question is, would he call? Yeah, I think he would call on the river. So we missed some value by not 3-betting pre-flop, which we should have. With our strong hand against a potential stealer. And then we also miss value by not betting again on the river to target hands that we think would probably call. So just for the hands that would probably call, of course, sets, 2 pair, top pair are all going to call. And if we think about hands that we beat, I mean, even those 2 pairs we're going to beat. We're beating the vast majority of hands, nearly all hands that would likely call on this spot if our read was correct on his bet sizing and the fact that he probably doesn't have a flush. So we miss value. Hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, you can look tomorrow for another hand.